What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of NBA Best Bets here on the Cowbell Kingdom Basketball Zone YouTube channel. I'm still your host, and man, I'm feeling like the most after that sweep yesterday. My name is Vince Miracle. You guys can follow me on all social media platforms of @BMCenter. And yeah, guys, that's right. We finally said, stop being a gentleman. Let's start getting out the brooms and just kicking people out the rooms because we got the sweep yesterday, baby. We got the sweep yesterday, baby. I was so hyped. Biggest win of probably my biggest win probably since early beginnings 2020. Like that was honestly, it was probably one of my biggest wins since a UFC card in 2020, and I clean sweep on the day. Our second 3-unit bet of the year hits. We double dipped twice. Both double dips hit. Even if I said try to avoid the game, right? I said try to avoid the game. But you know, if you're gonna do one, take minus 12.5 for the Grizzlies. Hit. Man, dude, I'm on another level today. It's Friday. I'm feeling good, bro. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling solid. I'm feeling like we're locked in. Again, my name is Vince Miracle. You guys follow me on all social media platforms @VMCenter. This show is sponsored to you by FanDuel.com. Everyone, go to FanDuel.com, whether it's for DFS lineups or it's for making bets. Use promo code Kings Court. That's right. Use the promo code to my podcast, Kings Court, and they will match up to $500 of your very first deposit. Now we got the excitement out of the way. Take that deep breath. I just had to talk about it one more time because guess what, guys? It's a new day. That stuff that happened yesterday doesn't matter because today they're still trying to take that money back. Now today they're coming after our bag and they put more games on the slate for us to go after. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on into today's games. And yeah, guys, it's a big one. And look, yesterday at the very end of the show, I didn't even know this because I wasn't checking the dates. It just happened to appear there. It was the only game that was still there for 1-7. So this was actually at minus 5.5 yesterday. The Sixers at home against the Spurs. And I said take it at minus 5.5. And now today it's at minus 7.5. Over under on this game is 219.5. No Tyrese Maxey. Danny Green's questionable. So you're gonna no Shake Milton. So you're gonna see a lot of Seth Curry in this game, man. A lot of Seth Curry. DeJounte Murray in, but now Derek White is out. That's another big concern for me for the Spurs. No Keldon Johnson. The Spurs are hit with injuries. The Sixers are hit with injuries, but the talent on the Sixers, I think, overcomes it all. I know that Greg Popovich and the Spurs are able to coach themselves and play themselves in any game just due to their energy and their high IQ basketball, but minus 7.5 at home. We would look at this for a unit, but to be perfectly honest with you guys, we wouldn't even really play this game. Wouldn't even really bet this game. But minus 7.5 isn't too crazy. I would take that for just one unit. I would buy the hook at the minimum though, because this was at minus 5.5 prior to heading into today's recording. So, I mean, you can look at it from yesterday's show. Next up, we have the Utah Jazz as 11.5 point underdogs to the Toronto Raptors. Now, look. The Jazz are dealing with a lot of injuries, right? They got health and safety protocols. They got injuries. No Bogdanovich. Royce O'Neal's questionable with knee tendonitis. You have Rudy Gay questionable. You have Hassan Whiteside questionable due to conditioning. You have Rudy Gobert out. You have Donovan Mitchell out. You have Mike Conley out. So the Jazz are going to be very limited with the players that they have. I expect you're going to see Eric Pascal. I believe that Rudy Gay and Royce O'Neal do play, or at least one of the two play. If I had to bet on one, it would probably be on Rudy Gay. No Bogdanovich either. I mean, 11.5, it just seems about right because the Raptors are starting to get on a tear here. Freddie VanVleet's starting to get really hot. OG Anunoby's playing well. Scotty Barnes continues to play phenomenally as a rookie, even though he's kind of falling off a little bit. But I think it's just due to the fact that everyone's finally healthy. They're helping him with the workload, and he was playing such a huge role as just a facilitator and a scorer and a rebounder, and now he has a ton of help. And Gary Trent's hot right now. So 11.5 points. The Toronto Raptors at home. The thing that does scare me about this game is that they do give up such a ton of rebounds. They give up so many rebounds, and if Hassan Whiteside plays, that's that that that's not. I mean, that's not the word. It's just they're missing out on so much, and then even Jordan Clarkson is questionable. Look, guys, this game is really hard to call. I believe 11.5 points is a lot. It really is a lot for a Utah Jazz team that needs to believe in their depth. This is going to really test them. It's going to give a lot of these guys that don't really get scouted, they're going to get a real opportunity. And are the Raptors going to be one of those teams that, underestimates this type of game because there is nobody there? There's possibly not even a Jordan Clarkson to take on that scoring load. So who's going to be that guy? Possibly Rudy Gay. So for me personally, I mean, you have to go with the home team favorite, but again, this is another wash for me through these first two games. It's very hard for me to believe that you can go away from the Raptors for just a unit, but the spread is so up and down. I mean, 11.5 Raptors, I guess we would take that for a unit, but those first two games, I personally don't think I would be betting on them. And speaking of which ones I will be betting, again, I am working on the Substack subscription. You guys can follow me. You guys can be able to log in, subscribe to the Substack that I have. You guys are actually going to be able to see the tickets I've built. Whether it's and sometimes I do like I did yesterday, where it's a round robin. And those are really cool. It hits pretty well like yesterday. I think that's a big reason why I won so much was because of the round robin, as well as the two individual bets of the double dips between the Knicks. And my God, that Knicks game, man, that was crazy. But yeah, you guys are going to be able to subscribe to my Substack and be able to see my actual tickets, as well as talk about the NBA and the Kings and anything you guys really want to talk about. It'll just be a personal one-on-one conversation between me and you. It obviously wouldn't be too expensive, no more than $5 per month. But yeah, you get to see the tickets and we get to build this bag together. So again, guys, we are going to avoid that Jazz Raptors game, but if you out there bettors want to know which one would you lean, I would be leaning toward the Raptors at 11.5. Minus 11.5. However, most bettors are taking the Jazz plus 11.5. I just find that too much, as so many of the guys are out with a big scoring portion in Jordan Clarkson being questionable. So I would probably lean toward the Raptors. Next up, arguably the game of the night, you have the Milwaukee Bucks as 4.5-point underdogs to the Brooklyn Nets. Now, this game, I think, would be a lot closer in a spread. And look, 4.5 is already pretty close. But I think it would be a lot closer in spread if they had Drew Holiday. No Drew Holiday tonight for the Milwaukee Bucks. No Pat Connaughton. No George Hill. No Dante DiVincenzo. I mean, the Bucks are coming in with a bunch of big guys. I mean, Chris Middleton's going to have a huge workload tonight, as well as Giannis Antetokounmpo. You're going to see quite a bit of that rookie Nwora. And Bobby Portis is going to have to take a huge workload here as well. It's very interesting to me to see them as 4.5-point underdogs against this Brooklyn Nets team that's now going to be having to go back to playing without Kyrie Irving. But it makes sense, right? Like, even without Kyrie Irving, they're still such a threat. And for me, I think at $10,400 on FanDuel, you have to play James Harden in this matchup, especially since there's no one there that can actually guard him at that point guard spot. You're probably going to see a lot of Giannis on Kevin Durant. I like the home team Nets here, minus 4.5. I'm going to take that for 2 units. I'm not super confident in that, but I just feel like that Drew Holiday and the defense that he brings at that guard spot plays a huge factor in this game. And if he's not there, and you're going to be relying, I believe Grayson Allen has a questionable tag, and yeah, he might even be doubtful for this game. So who they play at guard will be very interesting to see. But yeah, I think I got the Nets here minus 4.5. And, like I said, I'm going to take that for 2 units. They're almost 2-1 favorites here. You're giving up 4.5 points. Maybe you buy the point, so it goes from minus 110 to minus 135. That's actually not the worst case scenario. But at minus 4.5, I still feel confident with this home team pulling out the win. So minus 4.5, we're going to take 2 units on that with the Brooklyn Nets. Next up, we have the Washington Wizards on the road against the hot number 1 team in the East, Chicago Bulls, at 25-10. The Bulls at home are 5.5-point favorites. And look, guys, the Wizards are playing better. Look, Bradley Beal obviously isn't shooting the ball great from 3, but he's still Bradley Beal. He's still putting up numbers. He's still carrying this team the way he needs to. Kyle Kuzma, man, his defense has been phenomenal this year. I'm actually surprised of how good of a defender he has become this season for the Washington Wizards. They are getting healthier now with Raul Neto, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Aaron Holiday all back in the lineup tonight. And Montrezl Harrell with a questionable sign. It looks like all signs are pointing to him actually playing in this game. So you're going to have Daniel Gafford, you're going to have Montrezl Harrell, you're going to have Greg Monroe. So even if, let's say, Trez can't get up to full speed, they are going to have that 10-day hardship player in Greg Monroe, who's played pretty well since being back in the league here. The 31-year-old veteran, I believe, is averaging like 6, 8, and 3. Good player. And could see quite a bit of time here. With that all being said, though, the Bulls are on a different level right now. The pace that they play at, how they get into your face, I like them minus 5.5 here. I actually like them a lot. I believe that they're going to beat this Wizards team by double digits, honestly. And I have minus 5.5 here for 2 units as well. I don't see Gafford, as well as Gafford's play defensively as a shot blocker and as a help side defender, I don't see him in any way slowing down Nikola Vucevic when he gets in position down low, and especially Montrezl Harrell isn't going to stop him. And then you go to the fact that DeMar DeRozan put down 28 points in their last matchup. He looks great. And if Bradley Beal or Kuzma, or it's probably going to be Kuzma on DeRozan, you're kind of probably see quite a few switches from Bradley Beal off Zach LaVine. And if it's Dinwiddie on Zach LaVine, I give that edge to Zach LaVine. And look, I just think there's too much firepower here with the Chicago Bulls. And their defense really has surprised me. Like, I did not expect them to be this good defensively, especially out on the perimeter. But yeah, they play well. I like the Chicago Bulls here for 2 units at minus 5.5, the home team. One of my favorite teams to watch, too. They're so much fun to watch. Next up, we have the Dallas Mavericks on the road as 2.5-point favorites over the Houston Rockets. No Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is listed as doubtful, so I'm not going to say there's no Luka Doncic. Obviously, doubtful can turn to probable real quick. We've already seen it a couple times this season. But the Houston Rockets at home, plus 2.5. They're going to play with some grit. Kevin Porter Jr. and Christian Wood played well since returning from their suspensions. I think that their effort level is going to be definitely turned up after they got put, quote-unquote, on blast on the internet, as the kids would say. Yeah, again, they're a fiery team. Jalen Green has really looked well since coming back from his injury. Eric Gordon is expected to play. It's just a healthy team versus a limping team. And don't get it twisted, the Dallas Mavericks could come out here and win this game. They should be favorited here. I mean, they still got Jalen Brunson, who's played phenomenal this season in place of Luka Doncic, as well as next to him at times on the court. You're going to have Maxi Kleber, Dwight Powell. I mean, there's plenty of guys that can go off in this game. And you know, it should be a close one. I'm not saying any one team is going to blow the other out, but as the home team here, I think I'm going to actually do this. I'm going to do... Actually, I'm going to make a live bet with you right here, right now. We're going to go the Houston Rockets for 1.2 units. So let's just round that down to a unit for this show. So we're going to do 1 unit on the Houston Rockets for plus 2.5. And we're also going to do 1 unit on the Houston Rockets at plus 110 underdogs. So we're taking the money line. We're taking the spread. You guys know what that is. We doing the double dip on this underdog team. And yeah, we like that here. We like that. The over-under here at 214.5 really intrigues me to take the over. I really like the over here at 214.5. I'm going to take that as well. We're also going to take the over on 214.5 for this game as well. That's going to be for a unit. Perfect. 3 total units on 1 game. Over 214.5. 1 unit on plus 2.5. 1 unit on plus 110. 1-1-1. All on 1 game. 3 units total on 1 game. Large portion of it on the Houston Rockets as the underdog home team. Next up, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder hosting the Minnesota Timberwolves. The home Thunder are 5.5-point underdogs in this game. And look, there's no hesitation for me here. Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, Patrick Beverley, the whole gang is back together, and they're going to look good. The Thunder have no centers right now. Derek Favors is out. Isaiah Roby is out. Mike Muscala could possibly be their only real center that they're going to have on the court, and Karl Anthony Towns should be able to eat. I love the matchup that we're going to see between SGA and Anthony Edwards. Malik Beasley's played well for the Wolves. I just feel like there's way too many offensive weapons there. Now, don't get it twisted. I think the Thunder play with a lot of grit, but there was no Lou Dort on the floor. Lou Dort being arguably their second or first best defender on the perimeter. With him missing, I just feel like this Timberwolves team is going to attack them, and they're going to attack them fast. So for 2 units, we're taking the Minnesota Timberwolves at -5.5. That's right, guys. When you win big, you bet big, and that's what we're doing today. So -5.5, we're taking that for 2 units. Next up, we have the Sacramento Kings as +8.5-point underdogs on the road against the Denver Nuggets. Now, this game intrigues me a little bit because the Nuggets haven't been playing all that well. However, the Kings are horrible when they have to go up against big centers like Nikola Jokic. Aaron Gordon draws a very favorable matchup here as well, as he goes up against Harrison Barnes, who has really been struggling ever since he had that suffered that foot injury and has come back, and he's kind of been a mixed bag after being Mr. Consistent HB to start the season. Kings at +8.5, though, with the momentum on their side. I do like that here, but I'm not doing more than 1 unit. So at +8.5, I am going to take the Sacramento Kings. I do think this is going to be a fast up and down game. Can the other guys beat us? You already know Nikola Jokic is probably going to be on his way to a triple-double tonight. He is my favorite play on all FanDuel and even DraftKings platforms, even at his current cost. But at +8.5, the Kings have the momentum. De'Aaron Fox is really starting to pick it up. I think this is the game where you could really see the duo between Fox and Halliburton come together. Now, look, they lost in their last game against the Hawks that had nobody. It seems the Kings play up to the talent that is in front of them, or at times, I should say, play down to the talent that is in front of them. But this Nuggets team, they like to play fast. Obviously, they're not going to be able to slow down or even stop Jokic, but it's the other guys. Can they stop the other guys? Can they slow down the other guys? And I believe that they have the players and the mindset to do so, even coming in after a loss. So at +8.5, I am taking the Sacramento Kings for 1 unit. Next up... Sorry about that. Next up, we have the Atlanta Hawks on the road against the Los Angeles Lakers, and it's 2.5-point underdogs. And again, we're gonna hit the double dip here because I think the Hawks win this game. I don't think the Lakers pull this one out. They don't have the size to keep up. You're gonna see a lot of Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard is my favorite value play at center today at 3,500, the bare minimum on FanDuel. He's gonna have to get minutes today, but I like the Atlanta Hawks here at +125. We're taking that for 1 unit and +2.5 for 2 units. I think the Atlanta Hawks win this game outright. The over/under is at 230.5. Are they gonna be able to stop LeBron James? No. Are they going to truly be able to stop Russell Westbrook? Probably not. However, I will say this. If Trae Young is out, this completely changes. As of right now, he is questionable. He already missed the last game with a back injury. So let that be a caveat here on this show. If Trae Young misses this game, we're flipping. We're flipping. And maybe you pay for that as well. You hedge your bet, you pay. I fully understand doing that. I don't believe Trae Young misses back-to-back games with this back injury. From what I've been reading and what I've been seeing, I do believe that it's nothing that they're overly concerned about where it would keep him out another game. So that's why I'm rolling with the Hawks here as the underdogs, because I believe this spread is set to with the mindset of him possibly being out. If they say Trae Young is active, I think it flips to where the Hawks are the obvious favorites in this game because of how poorly the Lakers have played of the course of the season. Only one game over 500. Now look, the Hawks are 17-20. They're nothing to root on, but I just think Trae Young elevates this team and the way that they're able to play big, play fast, as well as play half court sets and slow. The turnover proneness of Russell Westbrook. Look, it all depends on if you believe Trae Young is going to play. If you believe Trae Young is going to play like I do, I like +2.5 here for 2 units and +125 for 1 unit. So that's a total of 3 units on the Hawks. Now, I can completely understand if you want to say, you know what, Trae Young's too small. Russell Westbrook's a great rebounder. John Collins is questionable too. It's not like Collins has been ruled out of this game. There's a good chance John Collins returns in this game as well. So you're going to have everyone back. Like I'm betting on the Hawks being healthy for a big matchup in LA against the Lakers. These are the games that I believe Trae Young wakes up for. And that's why I'm betting on the Hawks against the Lakers. Now, again, I understand why most of you will probably fade me here, because it looks like most bettors are betting on the Lakers to win this game, as 91% of bettors are on the Lakers tonight. I get it. I could be wrong. I just feel like the Lakers have struggled so much this season, and I've bet on the Lakers this season, and one time they let me win, one time they let me lose. I mean, it's hard to call when they're going to be good. Just tonight, I'm betting on the health of the Hawks being there and Trae Young being on the floor. And if you get them at plus money right now, I think it's worth taking. And lastly, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers as 6.5-point favorites on the road against the Portland Trail Blazers. Again, with no Damian Lillard. I don't know if there's going to be a ruling on the Yusuf Nurkic from punching Tyler Hero, which wasn't really a punch. I think YouTube and Twitter and all that kind of blew it up for more than what it was. It was more like a push to the face, not really a punch in the face. I think the more hostile act was actually Hero shoving him in the back. But because he's a guard and Yusuf Nurkic was such a big center, they kind of looked the other way. Because, I mean, if I was Nurkic, I would have been mad too. Regardless, minus 6.5. We're going to take the Cavs here. I just think there's too much talent here on the Cavs' side to not look at the favorite and believe that they can do it. Now, look, Anthony Simons, great matchup here against Garland. Garland's just played at an all-star level. Jared Allen's played at an all-star level. Evan Mobley has played as Rookie of the Year and possibly even all-star level as well. I don't think he gets the nod, but I do think he's definitely in the running for Rookie of the Year. And look, it wouldn't surprise me. I think record-wise, they're going to give it to Mobley. I think Mobley's the leading candidate right now for Rookie of the Year, but it wouldn't surprise me if this is the first time since the Jason Kidd, Grant Hill, that we see a split, like a duo Rookie of the Year, because Scotty Barnes he's just been so good. He's just been so good. And this whole class, I mean, Franz Wagner, man, he's been phenomenal. Chris Duarte, wow. I'm going on a tangent, but minus 6.5, we like the Cleveland Cavaliers. And that is our day. We are hungry, guys. We are ready to eat. So before we wrap up, obviously, I want to make sure that we go through and we get a nice review of these bets as I pull up the whole entire ticket here. Bada bing. So starting from the very top, we are going with minus 7.5 for the Sixers for 1 unit, but we're trying to stay away from that game. We're taking the Raptors at home minus 11.5, but we're trying to stay away from that game. We like the Nets here for 2 units at minus 4.5. We don't like the fact that Drew Holiday isn't playing. 2 units on the Chicago Bulls at minus 5.5. We actually believe they're going to win that game by double digits. It wouldn't be surprising me if you guys wanted to do a little bit more. We're doing the triple dip. We're doing dang near the Tootsie Roll on this one. Plus 110 for the Houston Rockets, 1 unit. Plus 2.5, 1 unit. Over 214.5, 1 unit. We're doing the Tootsie Roll on that one. We like the Minnesota Timberwolves here at minus 5.5. We're going to take that for 2 units as well. 1 whole unit on plus 8.5 for the Sacramento Kings on the road against the Denver Nuggets. The double dip here at plus 125 for 1 unit. Plus 2.5 for 2 units of the Atlanta Hawks. But remember, stay close to your phones. Make sure you're getting these spreads and everything, knowing that Trae Young may or may not play. That dictated my bet. I'm willing to take the risk on the spread, but on the money line, you are able to cash out early and back out and then lead your way back into the Lakers, because if Trae Young doesn't play, I do believe the Lakers get this win, but I think Trae Young is going to play, and that's why I'm making a hefty bet and doing the double dip. And then lastly, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers as minus 6.5 for 1 unit, and that is gonna be our bets today, guys. Again, my name is Vince Miracle. You guys can follow me on all social media platforms of @VM Center. I want to wish you guys a great weekend. One more time, Happy New Year. The first week back, Monday, you're gonna see that Excel sheet. Good things coming, good things cooking. And until next time, I wish y'all nothing but luck, and bye-bye.